Hello, beautiful people. It's your girl Neyssa with XPansive Taste. Here we expand our realities to ultimate greatness and learn to receive the best out of life. So, I'm here for you, ladies. I'm on your side. But as much as I want to empower you and teach you how to avoid undeserving men, I also care a lot about creating balance between the sexes and teaching you how you can thrive in your relationships. We already know that a lot of men have toxic traits, and I've spoken about this on my channel. I made a video about how terrible it was when I was a stay at home girlfriend to a broke man. We've talked about the dangers of being a pick me because all it does is attract predatory men that just want to take and take from you and take you for granted. But it would be wrong of me to never admit that some of you are literally no better. I have witnessed my friends being toxic to their partners. I know I haven't always been that great to all men. And on social media, we see men sharing their stories and women expressing their terrible character flaws. So yeah, we know some women cheat too. They hit men, they yell, they throw dishes. We know that some women only get married with intention to divorce and collect alimony. And here's a secret, I've had just as many women tell me their stories of sexual abuse as I've had male friends tell me their stories of sexual abuse, with their perpetrators being female babysitters. Man or woman, there are terrible people everywhere. I don't want to fuel the gender war. I want people to be in happy, healthy, wonderful relationships where both parties feel valued. Something I've learned is that men and women love differently. And this is the part where I'm gonna start triggering some people. So I'm gonna need you to be patient and let me cook, okay? So, how do both parties feel valued? Women want to be loved and men want to be respected. So in the Bible, it says, wives, submit to your husbands, and men, love your wives like Christ loved the church. So this means that men feel loved when you respect them and you submit to them. But ladies, this is not a lose-lose situation because the man is also expected to love you like Christ loved the church. And what did Christ do? He died for the church. Men and women love differently, and this is why alpha bros, they treat women so terribly. It's because they're scared. They're scared of how intense their love can be. Because the thing is, when he loves, he will catch a grenade for her. He will jump in front of a train for her. He will kill for her. This is a scary thing. This should scare you too, ladies. So be careful. So you get this kind of love from him by submitting to him. Just try it. See what happens. And how do you kill this kind of love? You do it by listening to the loud, perpetually unhappy feminist. You kill this love by trying to compete with him, by emasculating him, by completely forgetting about your feminine power. And of course, you shouldn't be submissive to every man, especially in this world where there is like a scarcity of femininity. These men are hungry wolves, and you need to limit interactions with men as much as possible. So just spend time with your man, and it's safe around your family members. So one of the reasons why you're not getting what you want from your man is because you're not asking him in the right way. You'd be surprised how easily he'll say yes to your request if you just smile, say pretty please, and use some of your Jessica Rabbit energy. Nagging doesn't work for a reason. Using passive aggressive speech doesn't work for a reason. It hits his ego, you sound aggressive, and you sound ungrateful. I have an example, and I don't want you to feel like I'm calling you a child, but just imagine that your child comes up to you and says, "Mommy, can I please have an extra cookie?" You're gonna feel those heartstrings and you're gonna want to say, "Yes, of course, you can have anything you want." And of course, you might have to say no, but imagine they respond with a tantrum and they're like, "No, I want a cookie. I want a cookie now." And then you'd be like, "Well, absolutely not. That behavior is unacceptable. Go to your room." In these situations, the request was the same, but because of how they asked, they got a different response. Now, imagine you're a man and your woman says, "I don't know what you plan for Valentine's Day, but I'm expecting flowers, I'm expecting a date, I'm expecting jewelry." Or your woman says, "Oh my gosh, babe, you know what would be so amazing? How about we go on a date, you get me flowers, and we pick out some jewelry? Oh my gosh, that would be so fun. I would feel so happy and special. Can we make that happen?" If you're a man thinking with your pee-pee, which one do you think you're going to respond to more positively? You guys, I just exposed myself, okay? So don't make me regret it. You don't have to be extra like me. I'm an extra person. Like, look at my glitter eyebrows. I'm an extra person. You don't have to do as much as I do. But you are going to have to stroke his ego a little and stop being a bitch. You're gonna get what you want once you figure out how to make that work out for you. So another way women hurt men is by emasculating him. And when you emasculate him, you also are enabling him to do less of what he's supposed to be doing. Men are naturally energy conserving. They don't do things they don't have to do. So when you ask your man to do something and then you keep reminding him, what you're doing is you're taking on the role of his internal alarm clock. Think about when you're out with your man in public and a part of your brain turns off and you just like become very unaware of your surroundings and he's keeping you from bumping into poles and walking into traffic. That is happening because you feel safe enough and you turned off that part of your brain that is aware of your surroundings. And a similar thing happens also to a man, especially when he's at home. So when you nag, he no longer has to remind himself to do what needs to be done because you keep doing that job for him. And if you give in and end up doing it yourself, what you're teaching him is that if he ignores the problem will eventually solve itself. Men need to be driven by natural consequences. Like back in the day, if a man didn't get married, that meant he got no pussy. That was a natural consequence. And that's why they got married. And now that they're getting it, that's part of the reason why they're not committing. A more recent example would be if he doesn't pay his car note, he knows that his car can get repossessed. He knows that if he doesn't take the dog out for a walk, there's going to be dog poop in the house. So when you ask your man to do something, let him experience the natural consequence of not doing that thing. And no, the natural consequence is not you giving him the silent treatment or not sleeping with your husband. That is not a natural consequence, that is forced. A natural consequence would be an overflowing trash can that when he lifts that bag up, it just bursts and now he's stuck with cleaning up piles and piles of trash. That's a natural consequence. Also, it's him not cutting the grass for a very long time and seeing how many frogs and snakes are in his yard now. Let's say he was supposed to wash the dishes this one time because you had an appointment in the afternoon and the dishes were not washed. Then you could say something like, "Oh, sorry, babe, I wanted to cook dinner, but I just cannot cook in an unclean kitchen. It's so stressful." So address the problem and let him solve it. As much as men are energy conserving, they're also generally good problem solvers. So maybe he will just wash the dishes, but maybe he might order takeout and face the other natural consequence of unnecessarily spending extra money. Here's another thing, ladies. Some of your standards are really ridiculous. How many times have you been on a date and you were like, well, he's a nice guy and I kind of had a good time, but cut it right there. Stop sabotaging yourself from experiencing something that could be great. A lot of these standards are so superficial, and deep down, you know that if you actually gave him a chance, you probably would have like a really good time and you'd be very happy with him. Of course, if he's lacking in a lot of ways and isn't the developed man he needs to be, then you don't need to settle. If you look at my low to high value man pyramid, we want to get to the top of the pyramid as much as possible. But if the problem is just that his beard is patchy, he has a Velcro wallet, or he made a corny joke, then you need to get it together, humble yourself, and figure it out. The thing that should determine if that guy is right for you is if you have common values. If you both have common values, but the problem is that he's 2 inches too short or he has a weird laugh, then consider getting over yourself. One thing I've noticed about straight guys that don't spend time on Instagram and actually focus on their career in making money is that they look broke. They have a low sense of style, their clothes are ill-fitting, and it looks like they're still wearing that shirt that their mom gave them in the ninth grade. So when I was getting to know my partner, I discovered that he had 2 pairs of shoes that were very beat up that he was repairing with glue. You know what I did? I changed that. And now he's looking pretty good. And now I'm getting princess treatment. And I have at least 2 videos where I tell you how you can get princess treatment. Going on with ridiculous standards, some of you are just bullies that don't want to believe that men don't have feelings, and some of you hate men with personalities. Some of you believe that the only thing men are allowed to be are hot, funny, and rich. So yeah, maybe he likes anime, maybe he talks a lot about football, maybe he collects car parts. That's okay, he's a whole human with different interests, hobbies, and opinions. As long as he's good to you and you share common values, the two of you will be just fine. The last part I can think of is that you're too needy and you expect your man to be everything. Some of you expect your man to be your therapist, your life coach, your parent, your girlfriend, your servant, your magician, and it's too much. It's overwhelming. Get yourself some hobbies, spend time with your girlfriends, go to church, get a therapist, read some self help books, learn how to spend some time alone. You need to know how to make yourself happy and how to maintain that. That's your responsibility. You cannot expect your man to make you happy. Don't suffocate him with your neediness. It's very selfish. So, you got to do some inner work. Figure out what makes you happy. Get some hobbies and learn how to enjoy your time alone and self develop yourself. Get some spiritual help, some guidance, get a mentor. Learn to love yourself and understand that you alone, you are worthy. You don't need someone else around you to validate you to make you feel worthy. You are already worthy, okay? So that is all I have for you now. Of course, I will talk more and more about these topics. You can't expect one video to be the whole textbook of relationships. So I hope you guys were able to receive something great from this video. I hope you're able to learn something so that you can better your relationships. I want you to be in wonderful, thriving relationships, and maybe you can apply all these tips, or maybe you have even better suggestions and ideas. So please comment down below what your thoughts and your suggestions are, what you learned. Yeah, so that is all, beautiful people. Thank you for making it to this point of the video. I really appreciate you. Please like, comment, share, and subscribe. Goodbye, beautiful people. I send you my love. Mwah. Bisous. A little bit of this, a little bit of that.